Good evening and hello out there to everybody in the virtual world. Welcome to the FITT Show, financial information for today and tomorrow. I'm Bobby Kinzer,
And I'm Thomas Doty.
and we are the FITT Show, helping our people get their finances in shape. We hope everybody's doing well today. Thank you for checking us out. Just want to let you know that this is Thursday, July 13th, 2023, and we are live on Thursday, July 13th. How's everything going, Dope?
Everything's good. I'm in Cleveland visiting my 103-year-old mother.
Wow, that still is truly amazing. 100, how old is she?
103.
Whoa, Dope, you're so blessed, man. God, and moms are so spry too, for 103-year-old woman. She's very, very cognizant too, by the way. Good Lord. But
Yeah,
just want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we just want to remind you all that please share this link with your family and friends. And if you're on YouTube, you need to subscribe and get your people to subscribe because we're trying to reach as many people as we possibly can. We really appreciate. And also, please click on the like button and the heart button as many times as you can. They count every click. You can do it as many times because that's how the algorithms work, believe it or not. And we also would love for you to place comments in the comment box. So if you have any questions or also any topics that you would like, for us to cover. And especially if you have an opinion about something that we're saying, the comment box is the way that we actually get to interact with one another. So please use that comment box, click on the like button and heart button, and that will make us so, so happy. Last week's show, excuse me, was retirement tax trap. And we hope that was very beneficial with information for you about retirement because there's so much more that we need to learn about retirement. So we can't never get enough of that. But this week, we're going to be talking about how to recession-proof your financial life. Now, there's a lot of stress out there these days, and a lot of people hearing about the recession. And the recession, the definition is like three consecutive quarters of a down market. So that is usually, and I know y'all been hearing a lot of information about that is looming. But Dope, what you feel about those things nowadays?
yeah, it's some crazy times, man. These are some really, really weird times we're in. And I just think you just got to hang in and just fight your way through it. This is, we always talk about building an emergency fund because you just don't know what's going to happen. These are just unprecedented times. It's weird. It really is.
Yeah, no kidding. So, Dope, let's start off with the top of the show, which we always uh, get into. So, Dope, wait a minute. First, though, let me change your view because it looks different. I hope you all see a different. I've got a different view of you, Dope.
Okay.
Do you see your full self?
Yes.
Okay, because in the other side it looks like you're not. Okay, so Dope, let's. I want to go to the top of our show, which we always start with, is the stock market update and the cryptocurrency update. So let's start with the stock market update. Dope.
Things have been pretty good. This is just mostly because inflation is going down. The June's inflation came in at 3%, which is still not where the Fed wants it at 2%, but it's better than it was last month at 4%. So that was really good news, and I think that has been pushing the market forward. You can see for the week, the Dow is up almost 500 points, or 1.4%. The NASDAQ has really made a good move this week. It's up 640 points, almost 5%. And now Microsoft had been on a run. It took a fall back, but it's back up around 343, still close to its all-time high. I think its all-time high is somewhere around 347, 348, somewhere in that range. Tesla's still hanging in. It's doing really well. They are delivering cars at a record rate for them. the upper point. Apple is pretty much flat, down 1 point, but still near its all-time high. Pfizer is flat. That's the only loser I got. And my big winner is Nvidia, which has been rolling. That's the stock I bought at 170, and it's up to 460. So I am very, very happy about that one. And typically when people think interest rates are going to go down, that's going to really play a part in the tech stocks. That's why you see them doing so well. And who knows if that's going to continue. There's still a lot of negative vibe out there. So just enjoy it while we can, and hope Fed's efforts to lower interest rates are finally working, and we'll see interest rates start to head down. That will really get the economy going again.
Yeah, that's really interesting, though. That it seems like it is working, but it's still too early to tell. And those we talked about AI, artificial intelligence. The stocks that are involved with artificial intelligence, they are really still moving too, though. And you know how we talked about NVIDIA, which was one of those semiconductor stocks, which is in all smartphones, smart grids, cars, and things like that that runs your information in your cars and all of that. Well, the other one because I have the competitor, which is smaller than NVIDIA, but it's called NXP, and it's up over $5. Remember, last week it was around about like 190 something. No, it's up to $216 a share. I got in at $90 a share.
That's
So
cool, man.
yeah, that's looking good. And GE, who had a reverse stock split, they're up. They've been moving, and then GE is in everything. Big engine, what they call it, combine engines for ships and planes and stuff. They're into a lot of stuff. So, and Apple though, Apple is still trying to move along there, but it's interesting. But today, that's the only stock on your list that's down. And
Yeah,
it's
but
only one. It's only one.
it's been on a good run. It really has. And again, you don't get caught up into what happened this week, what happened last week. If you look at
Right.
its high, it's still near its all-time high. So, and there's a couple of ways you can look at that. A lot of people would say, hey, now is the time to take your profits and run.
Right.
My dilemma is always, if I get out of Apple, what would I buy? And I don't think I can find a better company than Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, and Tesla's kind of a wild card play because it can go either way. But I'm comfortable with where I am. I'm not thinking about taking any profits. I don't want to deal with the long-term capital gains. I don't think Nvidia. I just bought Nvidia in November, so I'm not long-term on that. So I wouldn't even consider selling that right now. But I'm just going to let it ride. I don't have an alternative that I would invest in, and I personally feel you have to be in stocks to make money.
Yes. So let's get to one of my favorite is cryptocurrency, though. Wow, dope. Check it out. Bitcoin is up $1,227 per Bitcoin. That's about 4%. Just when you think it's over, it's starting to return some profits for people. Ethereum, the smart contracts, cryptocurrency is up 7%, up from 1,866 to $1,995. That's like a 7% increase. And Dogecoin, though, Dogecoin is crazy. It's up 17%, even though it's a small incremental. And though, just when we thought Shiba Inu was down, it moved up from number 20 to number 19. Go figure. But that's it for the crypto market. The market cap is still at $1 trillion, though.
And Bob, that's the tricky thing about that. I mean, it's kind of a mixed bag here. I don't really have a compelling argument for why I'm in Bitcoin and Ethereum. If anybody asked me explain to me why I got into that, I'd have a difficult time saying something intelligent. It's just a feeling that I have that that's going to be the mechanism used for financial transactions in the future. That's the only reason I can give for having invested into those two cryptocurrencies, which isn't always a good reason. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it for anybody. We always talk about if you invest in it, make sure you're willing to lose that money. But I just think that's going to be the way of the future, and that's why I'm in it.
And so, one of our strategies or theories about investing is, know what you into. And so you're violating one of our principles.
And I'm admitting it. I'm being upfront. But and again, I won't say I have money to play with, but this is kind of just a wild card investment that I think it's just a gut feel. I think it's going to do well. And I'm up double of what I put in, so I'm not complaining.
And so it's working.
Yeah, I just feel bad that I don't have a
Logical.
technical reason. The other stocks I have, I can explain to anybody why I am invested in those in Microsoft, Apple, Tesla, Nvidia. I have legitimate. I think I could convince anybody why that's a good play, but crypto, I couldn't convince a 5-year-old that that's a good
Well,
play.
I'm gonna tell you why I got into it though. Back based on your point that you made, I hope people didn't miss it. The whole point of why cryptocurrency was actually created was one, the dollar was losing a whole lot of value, so they were trying to compete against the dollar. And then two, it was always designed, like what you say, to be able to purchase something, to be able to purchase. And it was cutting out the middleman, meaning it was peer to peer. Like if you like use your credit card, you got to go through Visa. If you use any other transactions, you have to go through another vendor. But the whole cryptocurrency was created to go directly peer to peer. To me, it makes sense that you cut out the middleman, then you can make some money. And this other thing that drove me too, though, for us to help people understand about cryptocurrency. And if you held it in the cold wallet, meaning if you held it on your computer or on your phone, you were like being your own banker.
Definitely.
The people who sold it to you don't know, but didn't have access to it. The IRS didn't know about it, didn't have access to it. So it's like you were being your own banker. So I was sort of like banking on that as it was going to take off, especially Bitcoins. Now there's over 45,000 cryptocurrency, but only about 9,000 are active, right? And it obviously didn't start off that way. Bitcoin was the first one, and it just took off, but it's still number one. And I'm with you, though. I think at some time it's going to pick up as a currency for transactions.
Yeah.
I really believe it. So, but like we said, and I ended with this: we in it with money that we are willing to lose, money that is not, that we don't need in the next 1, 2, 3, 4 years. So that's the other thing we want to remind you all why we're into it. But though, let's get into this week's show, man. How do we recession proof, your financial life? That's an interesting topic.
Yeah, and as I started to show off talking about what's going on with the Fed and that kind of thing, the Fed's total focus has been on fighting inflation, and they've been raising interest rates, and we're just hopefully seeing the end of that. And the economy was running way hot, hotter than expected. We had inflation that we hadn't seen in 40 years, and it may take some more effort on the Fed's part to get it where they want it to be. Okay, because they'd like to see it around 2%. And so, we've talked in the past about you raise interest rates, you slow the economy down, and you can stop people from stopping. Basically, you can stop inflation. So no one knows what's going to happen in the future, but you should always be prepared that the worst may happen. You can hope for the best, but if you prepare for the worst and you develop a plan to handle the worst, and when the good times come, you can reap the benefits. You can definitely enjoy those. So in tough times, the strength of your financial plan can be tested in ways that you may not even have thought about. Okay.
Right, right.
Yeah, I don't know what you went through with all this crazy inflation, but I know it literally tore apart some people. And that can cause some strong feelings, which could make your financial decisions less reasonable. So today we're going to talk about some smart steps you can take to manage your emotions, which will help you bolster your finances and recession proof your life.
Yeah, though. But the biggest elephant in the room for investors, market experts, and everyday individuals is the level of uncertainty about the future. Now, it's clear parts of the economy are slowing, and some parts are, picking up, and serious headwinds, could be present, for both the market and the consumer. But what is uncertain is which way is it going to break? Is it going to break, for the good, or is it going to break for the bad? And it's causing a lot of anxiety for everyone. That which we know, and that's why we want to talk about it. In fact, many people already feel that their personal economy is in the dumpster or can land there soon. Whether an official recession is coming or not, fortunately, there are steps you can take to reverse that sentiment, to ease the strain inflation is putting on your budget. Protect your savings and your livelihood in case that feared recession hits, and dampen the stress of many worries. Now, the antidote is anxiety. The antidote to, anxiety is action. Now you just need to be sure that you're making the right decisions. Things to consider to recession-proof your life should be things like knowing that you have a plan in place that accounts for good times and the bad. That could be reassuring. Making sure adjustments that may be needed because of changing circumstances. In these days and times, we got so many changing circumstances in our lives, from our kids, from our job, from our friends. Now, it's always a good
Different
idea. Would you say,
different
Doug?
stages, different stages of your life create different
How about
circumstances.
that? That's a big
Yeah.
one, though. It's always a good idea to review your spending and savings. If you feel nervous about the future, bolstering your emergency fund can help make sure you have cash on hand for emergency. That's why we always stress about emergency funds. Try to stick with your investment plan through the stock market downturns, and missing the best days of the recovery can hamstring your long-term results. And we're going to be talking about that, by the way, you all. We're going to be talking about that. But Dope, I want to share with everybody a particular chart that is out dealing with uh, what they call making the right moves. And it's interesting because a lot of people uh, have different priorities in their life. Now, this is a survey done about a year ago with the Magnify Money, and it says all the right moves. 9 out of 10 Americans say they are taking at least one step to prepare for a possible recession. Now, here's what they're doing in order of popularity. Though I was kind of shocked in some of these orders of priority, and well, not they say popularity actually. 62% of the people said they're cutting back spending. That's great. 39% say they're sticking to a budget, and that's because a lot of people, man, there was only 1 in 5 people at one time that was even doing a budget. 26% though, back to our point of building emergency savings as far as popularity goes. 25% are paying down their debt. 24% are working a side job. We always talking about that. Income streams always helps. It's always a buffer against inflation. And adjusting the investments, though, look how low that is. Only 6% of people are actually adjusting their investments, and it's down there. And then the last one is improving a job performance. So that's pretty interesting, though. What is popular to people, what they're doing, but as you can see, though, some of the things that we always talk about week in and week out, there are some of the things that are at the top of the list. So I hope that's people see that that's a confirmation to a lot of things that we talk about. But that's pretty interesting, though. But once you start off our conversation this week, though.
Yeah, and the most important thing, and we've talked about this before, how there should be more conversations in your life about finances. And please don't think I'm advocating you be consumed with finances. That's not at all what I'm saying. But it has to take a bigger role in your life because it's so important. And poor decisions or mistakes you make will haunt you for the rest of your life. And so one of the things we've read that is helpful for people is just to practice mindfulness to help make better money moves. Okay. Because a lot of times your natural reactions are not helpful. They're not thought out. There's no technical.
Okay, we Dope froze on us there. He's up there in Cleveland, and we're going to have to deal with a technical difficulty. He's going to get out and come back in. But what Dope was talking about was, the practice of mindfulness to help, make better money moves. And that's why it's always important to keep your long-term goals in focus. If you find yourself checking out or attempting to cut your losses in the market, despite a well-considered long-term investment plan, take a moment to reflect on what's really driving your choice. And it's in your long-term interest. Now, practicing mindfulness can help you develop the discipline you may need to avoid emotional money moves that you may regret down the road. So make sure, or don't try to get in again. So he's still trying to get in, but he'll get in a minute. That's how technologies are, you all. So we are slave to technologies. But I want to continue on and discuss the next particular topic that we are embarking on. And this one would be get a financial plan or stress test the plan you have. Now, a lot of people, especially the younger people starting off, may not have a financial plan, but a lot of older people may already have a financial plan, but you still need to periodically check your financial plan. Now, if you don't have a plan, it can make some sense to build one and adjust as needed along the way. Now, planning can help you see, where you stand now and give you a roadmap to your financial secure future. Now, as part of the planning process, you can test. Here comes Dope. He's back. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. He's back.
That's Cleveland. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Oh, you there?
Okay. Where did it cut off?
Well, what I did,
yeah,
we can hear you. And what I did, I finished your first topic, by the way. But is there something else you want to add? Cool. So now we're on to the second topic, though, which is okay because he's gone, so he's struggling out there. Yeah, he's struggling out there. Oh, you there, Dope? I see him, but I guess he can't hear us. Can you hear me, Dope? If you can hear me, Dope, you probably need to get out again and come back in. Can't hear you. Are you there? Right. So Dope's having technical difficulties. So let me continue on what I was talking about financial or to stress your financial plan. And it's so important, you can test the impact of various market and economic scenarios on your financial well-being. For instance, calculating the amount you may need to save to hit your major goals if some factors change. And that's why you got to periodically, we like to do a mid-year review, but we really tell people they should be really reviewing their financials monthly. Now, the thing I'm worried about are the big stocks to the system, like the big shocks to the system. And that's like a recession bid or being laid off could change your whole plan. May you want to try to ensure that you have enough liquidity to get through those, those periods. With a plan in place, you can play around with the estimates. What if I got laid off and I am out of work for 6 months? Work the numbers. Where is the money going to come from to cover essential expenses? Play with your financial plan. Plug those numbers in. There's so many budget sheets out there, you all, that electronically that you are able to use. There's no excuse that you can't do it. And it's helpful to be able to do. And, you might also want to look at, the impact of my retirement plan, especially if you have not retired yet. Now, a plan can be modeled and estimate what 6 months with no income means for you. Actually stress test it. Now, it can be a balancing act, saving and investing for the distant future while taking steps to protect what you owe. Now, today, consider thinking about your financial future in terms of 3 broad categories: preparing for your emergencies, protection, and growth potential. Now, these 3 building blocks work together. They really do. They really do. And they help make sure you have money for unexpected expenses. A plan to protect what you have and a growth potential to reach is a growth potential to reach your long-term goals. That's why it's good to reassess your and stress test your financial plan. Dodo, are you back?
I hope so.
We
I
can
think
hear
it's
you.
StreamYard because I've tried both on 5G and Wi-Fi. It's the same. Okay, good.
Okay, Dodo, it's on you. Number 3 point.
Number 3, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and we talked about this before, and this is one of the basics of just financial planning, and that's looking for ways to spend less or earn more. That's as Bob, as you always say, that's Captain Obvious. In the short term, it's difficult to conjure up more money. If it was easier, we'd all do it all the time. So spending less is an obvious lever to pull when looking around to add more cash to your, to have more money to pay bills. And so it's very easy to say, but at least try, because I know there's money out there that you could save if you really take a hard look. So look at your spending versus your income. And you don't need to track every penny, but you got to have some idea of how much you're spending and where you can get started to start saving. And Fidelity came out with a plan, and it's kind of interesting. Bob and I talked about it, and it makes some sense, and it talks about taking 50% of your expenses for essential things, like things that you have to pay, your mortgage, your rent, your utilities, things that are required to live, you know, food, grocery, healthcare. Those are things that you have to live. Then you take 15% and put in your retirement savings, and then you take 5% and you put that in short-term savings. So that comes out to 70% of your earnings. So the remaining 30 is for discretionary spending. And that's for things like going out to eat, going to the movies, buying clothes, traveling, vacation. And if you do that, then you're only trying to manage the 30%. You're not, it becomes a little easier. And if you accept the fact that this is what I have to enjoy myself with, it's a lot easier to stick with it if you have a definitive amount and just try to keep yourself between that. So we both thought that was an interesting method to use to kind of get your spending under control. And I think it definitely could help, especially if you can one, you have to make enough money to do that, but that 30%, really control that and try to get that to get your expenses under control.
And that's 50, 15, 5% rule, which is I find very interesting though. As we talked about it, that's a very interesting concept, and we sort of thought that was pretty good. Though I want to talk about
You got to find work, right, Bob? You got to find something that works for you,
right,
and you try all these different things because what works for me, being an accountant, I'm going to be a little more serious about making budgets, sticking to budget, uh, and things like that. And that might not be how Bob wants to do it, but there's a bunch of different ways to be successful, but they all include controlling your spending. It's just a matter of how you do it. You have to find a way to control your spending, and if at all possible, make some
and
more
that's why
money.
we always try to provide different methods for you, because there's no one silver bullet to cure everybody's financial situation. Though I want to talk about bolster your emergency fund. I know we talk about this a lot, but emergency fund, especially in hard times, could be a lifeline for people. And I think people need to understand that, because, they say that you should, once again, it's just a benchmark number, that you should try to save enough to cover at least 3 to 4 months of essential expenses. Now, some people may want to save even more, and that's good. But don't worry if your emergency fund isn't quite up to the standards of 3 months worth of essential expenses. It's quite a lot of money to put away. We do understand that. But get the ball rolling by at least saving maybe $1,000 or 1 month's worth of essentials, and then keep going until you hit the level that helps you feel secure. Once again, me and Doug always talk about there is no one thing. Like they say, God cuts your suit to fit you. And our financials is about the same way when we're talking about it. Now, it can make sense to keep a significant portion of your emergency fund in liquid savings too. Now, that way you can easily assess your money if and when if needed. Now, it doesn't necessarily need to be all in cash, but consider a relatively low investment that you can depend on. Or if you do need to access it, one of those low other risk investments are money market funds. Money market funds, they usually pay a little bit more than savings accounts, but they are considered to be liquid. So just think about, always think about having that little nest egg there in case these hard times hit and we are thrusted into recession.
Yeah. Now, the most important thing, and to me, this is very, very important, and it's staying the course with your investments. You pick good stocks, and in a perfect world, the stock market would always go up every year. That would be great. But that's not going to happen. They don't go straight up forever. They tend to fall. And sometimes they fall hard. We talked about the bear markets and the recession, depending on how far the market has dropped, and they're rare, but they aren't unprecedented. So when we talk about a decline of more than 10, but less than 20, it's called a correction. Decline of at least 20 is known as a bear market. And so historically, the stock market has produced positive returns over the long haul. Okay. And all after corrections and bear market, the market has always taken off. Not to say it's going to happen in the future, but it's always happened in the past. And that's why it's so important to stick with your investment plans through market ups and downs. Don't panic and sell out because everyone else is selling. Try to stay the course, and you just don't know when things are going to get good. You have no idea. So these are some facts. This isn't opinion. These are facts. So historically, on average, investors have received an annual 8% return. Okay. And they have tolerated 3 downturns or 5% per year. It's a historical basis. So positive calendar returns approximately 75% of the time. One correction of 10% per year, one correction of 15%, approximately 15% every 3 years, and one bear market greater than 20% every 6 years. But still, over the over the long haul, the market has returned 8%. And so it's important to stay the course. Things are going to get better. You just have to stick with it. And if you try to get in and get out, you'll probably end up missing when the market does recover, because nobody ever knows when the tide's going to turn. So if you stick with it, you won't miss it. Now, this is an excellent chart because it talks about how the market has done after either a correction or a bear market. So 1 year after a correction, the market has gone up 30%. 1 year after, 1 year after a correction, the market is going up 30%. 1 year after a bear market, which is worse than a correction, the market has gone up an average of 37%. Now you look 3 years later, 1 year after a correction, the market's 18%. 3 years after a bear market, the market's up 20%. 5 years after correction is up 16%, after bear 17, 10 years, 15 and 14. What this says is that the market is going to recover. If you stick with it, you're going to get that average 8% return. Yeah, and everybody would say, okay, no, I want to just get the 30 and 37%. Not going to happen. Nobody's that good. You have to get to the point where you're invested in the market, you're happy making an average of 8%, and that's just the way it is. If you think you can beat the market, you're probably wrong, because professionals have trouble doing that. You invest for the long term, you pick good stocks, you hang in there when times get bad, and things will recover. If you would look at the 52-week low on some of those stocks that I have, you just be amazed, you know. And this next chart shows what happens if you missed a correction. Okay, or the first one say you're invested the whole time. You take $10,000 and you invest it over this 42-year period. If you just stayed invested, you'd have $1 million, approximately $1 million.
Wow, that's
invested.
powerful. That's powerful.
But if you miss the 5 best days, which is entirely possible if you're going in and out, you'd only have $655,000. If you missed the 10 best days, you'd only have $472,000. And if you missed the 30 best days or the 50 best days, you basically don't make any money. But the important thing here is you need to stay invested. Don't panic. Don't try to time the market, because it's impossible to do. And hang in for the long course, for the long term. Be happy making 8% on average. As I've told you before, and every 9 years, your money's going to double. That's fact. That's not Dote's idea of what's going to happen. It's a fact. If you can average 8%, your money will double every 9 years. Can't beat that. Can't beat it.
No, you can't. That's those are some interesting numbers, though. I mean, numbers don't lie, you know, and that's why we try to share with people. And a lot of people try to jump in and out of the market, and you can miss that chart was showing just 5 of the best days in that period of time, though. Just 5 of the best days in 42 years, and you can be like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's so powerful. I'm just telling you, that is so powerful. But Doug, I want to switch gears and talk about uh, another recession-proof thing for your financial life, and that's and this may seem a little different, but it's talking about you can update your resume and sharpen your skills. Now, slowing economic growth can mean layoffs, but the good news is that the labor market is still going gangbusters, though, as of July. Matter of fact, under President Biden, they've created over 13 million jobs in the last 28 consecutive months. That's the largest job creation in the history of any president. But Though layoffs has hit some fast-growing tech companies, the latest government employment data continues to reflect more job openings than workers. Now, that doesn't mean it's always easy to find a great job, but the overall picture is still strong. The job openings hit a high point in March, though, and eased in April. And May readings of the Bureau of Labor Statistics job openings, they did a survey, and as of May, more, and it was 11 million, but as of June, it was close to 13 million. And that's the highest reading in the past, decade. Now, whether you're concerned about potential layoffs or you just ready to make a change, refreshing your resume with your latest skills and refreshing your resume with the latest skills and achievements can help make sure you are prepared, though, because that's what I always talk to, especially young people. It's all about having transferable skills. That's what to date is what's happening. That's why you should always pick up the training courses that your job paid for, because it's all about who has the most skills and the most valuable skills. But though, I just want to show a chart on the job market, just so people can see what's been happening. It's so interesting that I know this is help wanted job openings near record high from 2012. They went from 4 million jobs to in May, this is as of May of 2022, up to 11 million jobs. I mean, so that's why it's so important for one to make sure they update their skills and update their resume, though.
Yeah, and let's try to close it all up. And the best time to plan for worst case scenarios is when everything is going good. Okay. And you got to remember what we showed in those charts. Nothing lasts forever. Bull markets end, bear markets end, economic expansions will eventually contract into a recession, but growth will start again. So get your financial plan started or strengthen it, fine tune it, and always be ready for whatever may happen. But you have to have a plan and you have to think it through. Try not to make emotional decisions. And if you need to get help, go get help. If you need a financial planner, go get a financial planner. But put the time in to managing your financial affairs. It takes time, it takes effort, and it takes a certain stick-to-itiveness to stay with it when things aren't going well.
Now, though, it's hard not to be anxious about your finances now, especially in the environment we're in, with a constant barrage of news about one or the other worrisome development in an economy and constant reminders of the personal impact of inflation and falling financial markets. Every time you fill up at the pump, check out the grocery store or look at your 401k balance. Now, that mindset, however, is not only bad for your mental health, it can prompt you to make poor decisions about your money. If clear, long-term thinking gets clouded by emotions and at the moment. So, when we are emotionally charged, we become rationally challenged. And we are wired to do everything wrong when it comes to money when we get emotionally charged. That's why me and Don't always talk about take the emotions out and try to really focus on the numbers, um, your situation, what is more important to you and how you prioritize your spending. Now, typically, your financial situation won't kill you, but chronic financial stress can. And I just want to remind people of that. That is very true. So, Dode, I want to take us to our normal way we end the summary and takeaways. And here we go. So I'll go first, though. Uh, One of the things we talked about is so important. Periodic reviews is essential. We like to say at least do mid-year, but we think you should do it monthly. Dope sometimes he does it weekly. So you cannot review your essentials. It's never can not look at your financial situations too much.
You got to think through your financial decisions. You got to think what your goals are, how your goals are going to change, what things are coming in your life that you have to prepare for. And you got to have some strong principles and stay the course of knowing what you want to do and sticking to it.
Stay the course. You got to stay the course, you all. I mean, I know, like I just mentioned before, that emotional triggers sometimes make us make moves and money moves, bad decisions, but stay the course. And stay the course also means if you have a plan, stick to it. Yes, I talked about earlier, there can be adjustments made to your plan. That's not the problem. But the issue is that you have a plan and try to stick to it, because if you really thought out, which values, which is important to you, and you prioritize, your spending, and you got your debt down, and you got emergency fund, that will help cushion you against any kind of, whether it's a financial shock, whether it's a recession, whether it's an election, a Democrat or Republican, whether it's a pandemic. These are the things, if you stay the course, will definitely uh, be a guiding light to you building your finances.
And nothing lasts forever. And that there's a little more to that than the fact that, like I said, bull markets are going to end, corrections are going to end, bear markets are going to end. The smart people look for opportunities. Bob, you still there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The smart people look for opportunities in those bad times. And I mean, just think about when you go back last year when things were so bad, and that's the reason I bought Nvidia, because things were all going down, but I did a little research, found out that was a great company, and you you look for opportunities when things are bad, as opposed to thinking of selling when things are bad. It. I've said this before, but smart people buy when everybody else is selling and sell when everybody else is buying. And I'm not talking out both sides of my mouth saying you should be going in and out, but I'm saying when things are bad, the understanding that nothing lasts forever. If you have some extra money, that's the time to look for opportunities to buy good companies, because they're going to recover. So keep that in mind. Nothing lasts forever.
Yes. Yes. So, no, another great show. Just want to remind people that uh, there's no one strategy that is the cure all or cure all. And no, Angela Grubbs wanted to know, can you tell her again what the 15% was in the 50, 15, 5 strategy was?
15 is putting money away for retirement savings. That wouldn't apply to us because we've already retired. But if you're young and working, you should be putting 15% of your money towards your retirement savings out of your total. Okay, so 50% goes to your essentials, things that you have to pay, your rent, utilities, healthcare.
Debt payments and
50%,
obligations.
but 15% goes to your retirement savings, and 5% goes to your short-term savings. And you have 30% of discretionary income, which you then have to manage. So you have a smaller amount of money to manage. That's the theory behind that particular process.
So I hope that answered your question, Angela, and thank you for being on. And as we always do, we like to give our shout out to everybody on around the world. Thank you, Carl Chapman. As always, he was first on before we even got on. Carl was biting at the bit. My wonderful sisters, Linda and Gloria, thank you all for being on. And Rodney L. Madison Sr., the noteexperience.com. Man, Rodney was overseas. And Rodney, where were you? You were in Italy or Spain? Put in the box. I forgot where you were. But Rodney's living his best life. And he's still working. But Modestine, as always, thank you for being on. Joanne Skinner and uh, 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 Garnett. Is Garnett on here? I thought I saw. I didn't see Garnett's name. Yeah, Garnett's on. Right. Garnett say another great show, informative show, and thank you. Yes. Oh. No, Rodney was not in Italy. Rodney was not in Spain. Rodney was in Amsterdam. Now,
Oh,
Dope, you been to Amsterdam?
I've been there quite a few times. One of our European headquarters was based there, and that is a beautiful, beautiful city. One of the best things you can do is take a ride, a boat ride through the canals. It's absolutely breathtaking. Absolutely breathtaking.
And I've been to Amsterdam too, though. And it's a shame that most people never talk about how beautiful it is, and they into the horticulture. I'm talking about the flowers and all that. But everybody always talk about the legal marijuana and stuff that's there. They never talk about
red light district.
and
which, if you have daughters, that's the most despicable place in the world. It's just.
I know.
I mean, it used to be that was in the main downtown area. You could have a Chinese restaurant, a red light, a grocery store. It was, but they tried to move it away and kind of segregate it. But you just look and you think, man, that's somebody's daughter up there. So,
and it was like
other than that, it's a tremendous.
Right, but it was like you were shopping at K&G. They be sitting in the window. That was amazing. But Rodney, I know you and Angela had a great time. And now, thank you as always. You are stalwart and being on with us now. Always good seeing you out there now. And we're going to be here next week, ladies and gentlemen. This will be our 110th show. And like I said before, please, put some comments in the box about particular shows you'd like for us to cover. Like I said, we're going to do 110 shows. We covered a lot, but there's still more to cover. Money, even when you're sleeping, ladies and gentlemen, money is working. So it's good to make sure you stay up on all the type of things. And like I said, please share with us any comments and topics that you like for us to address. We're there, and that's what the comment box is for. So thank everybody for tuning in. We're here next week, the FITT Show, financial information for the day and tomorrow. Thanks again, Doe, for a great show.